Hi everyone, let's go ahead and get started with file handling in a Python. In this lecture we will be seeing how you can open a file, how you can read it, how you can write it in a various mode. Python supports read mode, append mode, write mode and create mode and throw the error if file already exists. Other than these four modes, there are two more modes. Those are T mode, that means create a text mode, and another mode is the binary mode, that means create their binary mode. Alright, so you can put this B with the W, that's mean the binary mode write, binary mode read and binary mode append. Similarly the text mode read, text mode write and the text mode append. Let's go ahead and see how you can read a file. It's very much simple. You need to read a file object by calling here open, and then you need to provide here a file path. You can simply click on shift and the tab to see the details of this method, which is known as docstring. Then you can click on this one. You will see there details of this string will detail of this method will be printed there, which is known as a docstring. Alright, so the docstring says that it takes the first parameter as the file, the second parameter is the default parameter which is read mode, and then other parameters are also a default parameter like buffering and encoding, errors, new line, all those things. Alright, so we don't need to worry about the other default parameters. We are just gonna take the first and the second parameters. Here it is also showing us that what are the modes this open supports. Like it has also here U mode, which is universal new line mode, and currently it is deprecated. Alright, perfect. Let's go ahead and see if you can read any file. Alright, so to make sure that you read a file, you need to first create here a folder. So I'm just gonna create here a folder. The name of the folder I'm gonna rename as the data. Alright, so I'm just gonna rename this as the data. Inside this data I'm gonna create here a new text file, and the name of file I'm just gonna keep here file.txt. Alright, that's the new file name. This is sample file. Alright, we created a new file manually and this file is stored here, file.txt. Let's go ahead and see if you can read that file.txt. So I do here file.txt. It says that there is the error, no such file or directory found. The reason is we put this file inside the data, and currently our notebook is inside the root directory. So if we don't assign here any the directory name, that means this file, this method open is looking for this file into a root directory. So but we don't have this file into root directory. We have that file inside the data folder. So you need to write there a data. So it takes the current directory, there is the data folder, and then inside the data folder the file is file.txt. Now if you run this, you will see there it's completely fine. There is no error. Let's go ahead and see how you can read this, read the content of the file. So you can simply do like f.read. Alright, so you do there f.read, it reads the content of the file. Currently we have only one line of the content there, but suppose that if you have a multiple line there, this is second line, this is third. Let's suppose that you have a multi-line data, and then if you try to read your the file name, you see there a new line character is also coming in your txt file. So how would you remove these new lines and you get the correct data? So there are other methods. You can simply do like f.read, and then you can do either read line or read lines. If you do their read line, you will see there it will read a first line. Alright, so since the file pointer is already at the end of the line, so if we do after reading this, you will get the nothing will be printed there. So you need to bring your file pointer at the start by reopening file once again and then you read. So the first time if you read, you will get the first line. Alright, and if you read it second time, you will get the second line. If you read the third time, you will get the third line, and at the fourth time you will get the empty data. That's the read line. That means it will read a single line at a time. So what would be the method to read everything in one go? So the method is something like this. You can do like f.read lines. Alright, so it will read this whole lines together. But again, there is a problem. Every line is having there a new line character. So how do you remove that? Either you can perform here a list operation to remove this new line, or I'll show you another method. But suppose that you have a data here, something like this. This is your data and you want to remove these lines. So now we are going to use here a list comprehension method. Alright. I have not shown you till now how you do the list comprehension. That I'm going to show you here with the help of for loop. So I say here for x in data. Now each of these will be coming into x one by one, and this for loop will be iterating over this data. Then I'm just going to put here x dot strip. If you remember, I have already taught you how this strip work. So this strip is going to remove all non-printable characters. Alright, if you run this, it will throw the error. Now what you need to do, you need to put there a 2 square bracket here and there. So this method is known as a list comprehension method. So in a single line of code, we have applied a for loop. We did some pre-processing, and then again we recreated a new list after pre-processing. Let's go ahead and run this. Now if you run this, you will be getting here without any special characters or new characters, a new line character. Now you can assign this as a data. Let's go ahead and cut this from there and paste it here, and then if you see the data, you are getting here a correct data. That's the one way. Let's go ahead and see the other way to do that. That's the simplest one. You can simply do here like read, and now you see the data. This data contains here all the new lines. All right. So one way to do that, you can split your data with the new line. All right. You see there. Now this one and this one is exactly the same. Otherwise, what you can do data dot, there is split line method is there. All right. So there is method split lines. So this method automatically split your data on a new line. If you run this again, if you run this, you will be getting the same data what we had earlier. Alright, so once you have read your file, then you can close your file by f.close, by writing f.close. So you will see there now your f is closed there. Alright, this one is closed now. You cannot read anything from here. Alright, because it says that this input output operation on a closed file. This file is already closed. Alright, so we have been reading a file which was already created manually. Let's go ahead and see how you can create your file. Alright, so you can simply open a new file with the desired mode. I'm going to say here f is equal to open. You need to give a path where you want to open your file. I want to open my file inside the data, and I'm going to just give here a new name as a writefile.txt. And the mode which I'm going to open it into a write mode. Now your file is open into a write mode. Once that is done, then you can simply do here f.write, and then you can write your content here. So I'm going to say here this is line 1. Let's go ahead and run this. Once you run this, this says that the total 14 number of characters has been written there. And if you count this, you will find that it is a 14 character there. Let's go ahead and see if you have a file. We have a file, but it says that the file size is a 0 byte only. And if you open this, you don't see anything written there. The reason is we have not closed this file yet. So if we use this method, we need to close our file so that the data written into buffer can be written into file itself. So you can simply do here f.close, and now if you see, if you reopen your file from here, you see a 14 byte size file size is there, and this is line 1 is written there. Similarly, you can write there a multi-line, something like this. This is line 2, and if you run this, now you will see there, close this and reopen again it here. You see there, this is line 1, but the line 2 is not printed, not written in a new line. The reason is here, if you write something in your file object, it will just, your file pointer sits there. So when it is sitting there and you write a new data, it will start writing from here. So every time if you want to write the data into a new line, you need to put there a new line character there, either here, or you can write here f dot write a new line there. Alright, let's go ahead and run this, and if you see this now, you should be able to get these lines broken into two different lines there. Alright, so right now you see there, I have tried to write the files multiple times, but every time only 2 lines are being written there. The reason is, whenever you use a file mode W to open a file, it will overwrite a file if it exists, otherwise it will create a file. But suppose that if you want to add the data into a file which is already present, then you need to open your file into append mode. Now you see there, you have a 2 line of code there only, 2 lines there. Now if I run this, this opens file into append mode. That's mean those 2 lines will be there and 2 more new lines will be added there in the file. Now if you open this, you see there these 2 lines are added, but again there a new line is not added there. So the best way to do that, what you can do, you can write here a new line as well. So the f dot write a new line there. Alright, let's go ahead and run it multiple times, 3-4 times I ran that file, and let's go ahead and see this. Now you see there, this file is coming there. Just to make sure that it is working perfectly fine, I'm just gonna delete this file from here, and thereafter I'm gonna run that once again. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. Now you see that the file is not present there. So the append mode, if you open your file into append mode and file does not present in your system, it will create a file and then it will start writing these data. Let's go ahead and run this 2 times, 3 times. I ran it 3 times. Now you see the file is there, and let's go ahead and see there are total 6 lines are there because I ran it 3 times, and every time the 2 lines was created there. Perfect. So this is all about in this lecture. Thanks a lot for watching this. I'll see you in next one.